I was 200 pounds and lost 100 pounds. Now I weigh between 115 and 120 pounds, but I've experienced so many ups and downs with weight fluctuation throughout my weight loss journey. And it's not about eating less and exercising more. Today, I want to share my story and help you on your own journey because I used to believe everything online and I try literally everything that exists. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're searching online like I did. I'll go over how to find the body set point so your weight doesn't fluctuate. Anyone can lose weight, but keeping that weight is more challenging than weight loss itself. You've probably experienced that already. As much as I don't want to, I'll share my personal story of this whole journey so you can look at it from the big picture. Whether you were thinking like, oh, I don't care about the future, I just need to lose 5 pounds this month and I'll figure it out later. Or, oh, I'm so tired of this yo-yo, when can it stop? Whatever you're thinking, I'm sure you can resonate with me, and that is why I'm sharing my journey, even though I don't want to. I've kept this secret for almost whole my life. So if you do resonate with my story and everything I have to say in this video, definitely subscribe to my channel because I'm going to share tips no one else talks about in this industry. I promise I won't be a gatekeeper for you if you let me be part of your journey. If you want to make a change, it starts from awareness and internal motivation. I knew I was fat, but I never felt like I needed to lose weight until this happened. In South Korea, where I grew up, you wear school uniforms in middle and high school. And I had to customize mine because the biggest sizes from every brand were too small for me. At the start of each school year, all the kids measure weight and height together, no privacy. This is also a story I shared on TV when I was a guest speaker too. That's a long story. Next time. School year begins in March and there's not much going on for the first week. Sometimes you just sit down in the classroom, chatting and making new friends. Then, someone announces through the speaker which classroom should come to the gym. Third grade classroom number 1 come to the gym immediately. Usually this is for the entire students for the same grade, so I was in the gym with over 300 students in my grade. There's only one device for each height and weight. You measure your height first, then you step on the scale. These teachers are brutal. Honestly, I thought they were psychopaths because they would just say it really loud how much my weight was. And of course, me being the biggest girl in the school, everybody paid attention for that moment so they can pick on me later. But this is not the end. A week later, you hear another announcement from the speaker and they name only the kids who were obese. Thankfully, they don't say why these kids gotta gather together, but it is so obvious for everyone why we were told to come somewhere in the middle of the class. Every year, I hated this, but it wasn't enough to make me want to lose weight. One day, I saw my dad weighing himself at home and the scale said 89 kilograms, which is 196 pounds. And me, who never wanted to go on a scale because of all the bad memories in school, because my brain was already associated with negative feeling about weighing myself. I was curious though, for the first time, how much I weighed compared to my dad. And when I stepped on the scale, it said 90 kilograms. That's 200 pounds, but I never thought I would be heavier than my dad. It was so shocking because my dad is 6 feet and I'm a lot shorter than him. I couldn't believe that I was heavier than him. It just didn't make sense. It did, but it didn't. I thought the scale was broken and I accepted the reality. This is how fat I am and that is what people see. So that's where my journey started. I weighed 200 pounds and like many of you, I've tried everything because I was so desperate. I've done some crazy stuff like injecting ACG, the pregnancy hormones, but maybe I'll make a separate video about all the crazy stuff I've done before. I was so desperate to lose weight quickly, so my first diet I ever tried is called one food diet. I read about it online. So this one food diet is where you pick just one food like tomatoes or eggs and that's all you eat because it's called one food diet. And I chose tomatoes, but since it was gross eating them raw. I added honey because I thought it was healthy. Big mistake. And I ended up gaining more weight. So this little girl, myself, the honey is natural and honey is healthy, so it must be okay to eat it. And I brought this up because actually a lot of clients I've worked with, they thought the same way. This is really good example of how education is so necessary for you to grow. That was a tough moment, but looking back, I know so many of you can relate to the feeling of frustration when nothing seems to work. But here's the thing. Small steps matter. Even though my first diet was a failure, I didn't give up. I started jump roping every day, 10,000 jumps daily. And in 4 months, I lost 40 pounds. If you're starting your weight loss journey, know that any effort is better than none. Consistency is the key, even if you don't get it right the first time. After losing 40 pounds, I wanted even more. I started skipping dinner, which led to a serious eating disorder, which already existed. Before this, I had a binge eating disorder using food to cope with emotions. Growing up in a society that's not generous towards people who are overweight, especially kids, like kids can be really mean. That was tough, and the contempt from the adults is something I'll never forget either. Despite losing a lot of weight, I faced disappointment. After losing a total of 60 pounds, I asked out my crush, but he wasn't impressed. This crushed me as a teenager and pushed me to lose even more weight. This experience taught me that weight loss alone wouldn't solve everything, and I started to build a thought of I'm not good enough. And I was so stuck in this mindset, which holding me back for a very long time. Looking back, I truly regret not loving myself when this happened. If I could go back in time, I'm going to give her a big hug and tell her you've done great and don't waste your energy for people who don't love you. Instead, save your energy for yourself and good people who will come to your life in the future. Sorry, I got a little emotional, but if you feel like you're stuck in life, I want to give you a hug and tell you the same thing I would have told to my younger self. I eventually lost 100 pounds, but through this journey, I realized it's not just about losing weight. It's about changing your mindset. Instead of focusing on becoming lighter, I wanted to become stronger, healthier, and more confident. That's something I really wish I had known earlier, and I want you to take that message to heart. Trust me. Your worth isn't tied to a number on the scale. If you were bullied or face a disadvantage because of your weight, I know it is hard to believe what I just said, but a lot of it comes from your aura, your energy that only come from a healthy mind. And for you to have a healthy mind, you have to be physically healthy. So when I first lost 100 pounds, I was like, yay. Then when I moved to the US, I gained 30 pounds in just 2 months. The food here is heavier, portions are bigger, and it's much saltier and sweeter. So it makes sense that why foods here would crave more food. I know many of you feel the same, especially when you transition to new environments or lifestyles. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when the scale goes up, but I want you to remember that weight fluctuation is normal because we as humans have a body set point. I'm not going to explain all the physics in this video, but it's important to be aware of this if you want to win this game. Also, if you were obese as a kid, this will be worse than people who gain weight as adults. And here's my story how I won this game. My weight has fluctuated between 120 and 140 pounds for several years, but I've learned a lot about my body. Here's what I realized. My body set point was 140 pounds initially, not anymore. After years of working as a personal trainer, studying nutritional science in college, I've done so many things. I learned that sometimes it's not just about diet and exercise. It's about understanding your body and its needs. Stay with me so I can help you to guide how to understand your body and what your body needs to win this battle. This can't be done in just one video, but I want to emphasize that if you're struggling with weight fluctuation or if you're struggling to lose fat, it might not be just about eating less and exercising more. Sometimes you need to look at your relationship with food and what your body truly needs, like better balance in your hormones. So, what can you do to manage your weight and stop the fluctuations? Here's a tip you can start today. Keep a food journal for a week. It will help you understand your habits and see if there's an emotional connection to your eating patterns. Something to keep in mind is that don't feel like this is a chore or don't start eating better because you're writing this journal. What we want is to find something deep about yourself, not the surface level. It's also important to find your weak spots. For me, it was my sweet tooth. Cutting out sweets entirely or eating alternative healthy products wasn't effective for me, psychologically or physically. And this is normal because of how our brain is designed. So instead of limiting myself to eating desserts or eating healthy alternatives, I started baking my own sugar-free desserts for a couple of years until I made desserts that taste like regular sweets or even better, to be honest. I found a way to satisfy my cravings while still staying on track. Discovering that my relationship with food wasn't healthy was a turning point for me. It's shocking because as a nutrition coach, I've helped so many clients, but I had overlooked my own struggles. Take the time to reflect on your relationship with food and understand where your weak spots are. It'll make a huge difference in your journey, and your journey can finally end. Lastly, remember that you don't need to be perfect. It's about consistency, not perfection. I work out whenever I feel like it these days, maybe once, twice a month, and I eat whatever I want. I've lost weight without even trying because I stopped obsessing over it. My new body set point is 120 pounds and I feel great. Focus on building a life that's sustainable, not one that's centered on constant restriction or guilt. So here are two most important takeaways for you. One, if you're just starting, anything you do will help. Keep going and don't get discouraged. And two, if you're struggling with those last 10 pounds or weight fluctuation, check your relationship with food and address your weak spots. Fixing these issues will help you maintain a healthy weight in the long term. I would love to hear your thoughts. What part of my story resonated with you? Do you have any questions? Drop them in the comments below. I'm here to support your journey. Remember, no question is stupid. We're all in this together, so don't hesitate to share your story and let's build a supportive community here. I'll be sharing more tips and insights in my next videos. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. I love you. Bye.